Hello everyone, so welcome to another video. This is where I go over each one of my favourite Gundam designs from all of the Gundam universes. I talk a little bit about them using only my memory, no Wikipedia pages or anything. And today we're going to be going over the Gundam Age 2 Dark Hound. So let's start this off. For me, the Age 2 was always a really cool suit, mainly because of how it was used. But when it came to choosing ultimately which version I would like to cover, whether it be the normal Age 2, the double bullet, the Special Forces version, which was basically just a repaint, or the Dark Hound, I thought that I would go with the Dark Hound, primarily because out of all of the different versions of the Age 2, this thing just does not suffer any sort of like major damage. To give everyone sort of a backstory, for those who don't know anyway, the Age 2 is basically based on the Zeta Gundam a little bit. Each part of Age kind of takes from Gundam history and then redesigns it. So we've got the Age 1, which is like the classic Granddaddy Gundam. And then you've got the Age 2, which is heavily based on the Zeta Gundam and its flight form. And then you have the Age 3, which looks a lot like the double Zeta. So, the Age 2, being like the Zeta, it has a different transformable form, which it calls the Strider form, which is really fast. That's cool. Not too big of a fan of transformable Gundams, but what I do like about the Dark Hound is that it was the first on-screen appearance, I think, outside of like silly cameos in like G Gundam and stuff, like way off in the background. This was one of the main appearances of a pirate-themed Gundam, and I think this is where my fascination from the Crossbone stemmed from, because it takes heavy amounts of inspiration from the Crossbone Gundam. It's got a similar loadout in terms of anchors and a flash bomb, but apart from having like, you know, the skulls plastered all over it to give it that pirate theme, it's got a much darker colour scheme. That black and red, it's kind of edgy in its tone. I don't particularly like the colour scheme too much, but you can't really pick and choose based on the stuff that's already been put out. You know, if I was going to do it, I'm not sure how I would do the colour scheme, but yeah, black and red is always joked about as being an edgy colour scheme, and it was just a weird thing to see, especially after the Age 2 special variant, the one that was all white as like a tribute to Wolf. I feel like it was almost like a contrast in a way, but yeah, the Age 2 Dark Hound does not suffer any significant damage throughout its run in the anime. From what I remember, it only has the front section just underneath the flash bomb area ripped off, and even then it doesn't seem to be a main part of the suit that protects it that much. So yeah, this thing in combat is brutal. I don't know whether it has the age system or not. By this point in the time period for its series, it seems like it's old, it's outdated. Not as far as like the Age 1. If I remember rightly, the Age 1 at the end of its run didn't have the age system in it, so it's entirely possible that the Age 2 Dark Hound doesn't have the age system in it. Primarily, actually, I don't think it does, because when you thinking about it now, the age system was on the Age 3, allowing it to adapt in combat and make new war parts for it. So yeah, the Dark Hound doesn't have the age system. It can't replace its parts easily. All of its parts were replaced after it met with Sid while Asim was busy out gallivanting across space, and yeah, it got absolutely decimated. All the limbs got blown off it, and it took a lot of damage. So it had to have most of its frame reworked. During this course, or this period of time, this is when Asim joined the pirates and became the captain. So I'm not sure whether it has stealth capabilities, but when you look at all of the pirates' gear, they all have the ability to go invisible. They have some kind of like cloak on them. In terms of its other accessories or its weapons, apart from like the wired anchors that can be electrified, which is pretty cool, or used as shields if they're spun fast enough. Apart from those, it has the Dodds Lancer, which is kind of like a Dodds rifle, but made into a lance instead. Kind of like the Crossbone X2s. And then it's got beam sabers, the flash bomb, and I don't think we see it with head Vulcans. But yeah, Asim's main thing with this suit is that by this point, he's an amazing pilot. And like I said before, this thing just styles or wrecks everything it comes in contact with. It easily manages to handle the H3, a bunch of other mobile suits, and keep an eye on its whereabouts all at the same time when Kyo runs into him in the H3, including a scene where it looks like Asim's about to die, getting stabbed in the back, similar to how Wolf did, only to do like this really cool flip and then end up spiking someone through the chest with the Dodds Lancer before finishing them off. That's a really cool nod to Wolf. So yeah, it shows off its mobility without having to go like super fast in Strider form, but zooming around the battlefield in Strider form and then being able to transform again is really cool. Being able to deflect projectiles with the wired anchors by whipping them around real fast in front of it is neat. It's something that I didn't expect to see, but it's really cool to witness, especially considering how fast it must have to go to block shots. The electrified wide anchors, I like that because it's kind of like a little bit of an upgrade from the Crossbone Gundam in a sense that not only do they grab things, they can incapacitate people instead of just flash bombing people. Because I mentioned in the Crossbone video that a neat way to either incapacitate or get out of situations would be using a flash bomb. This is just electrocute them. Just grab hold of them and electrocute them until the pilot can't move. But yeah, the final fight is where it shows off the best of its abilities versus Zehat. And this is where I think it's a little bit overpowered. It might be Asim's piloting or what, but at this point, Zehat has gone through a long character arc of getting upgrade, and you think, okay, he's gonna probably leave both of them with maybe like half a mobile suit. They're gonna rip into each other, and it's gonna be the usual sort of fight between mobile suit pilots where either one takes a load of damage and dies, or they both take a load of damage and somebody manages to get a lucky hit in. But no, the Dark Hound seemingly has the upper hand, primarily because Zehat seems really deranged at meeting Asim again and in the situation that he's been put in. And Asim uses all of the Dark Hound's abilities to his advantage. You get to see this high-speed combat where when he's not like defending himself from really minor attacks like getting kicked into ships, he's zipping around using the wired anchors to keep hold of Zehat so he can't really go anywhere or get any sort of distance away from him. He's using the anchors as defensive shields to block from all those little bits that Zehat can fire out of his shield. And then the most interesting part is where he manages to get the anchor around the Legolas's head and uses it to its advantage so he can grab hold of it and then punches Zehat's suit in the gut, which completely wrecks it before ripping it apart. And this all happens in animation, at least in like the blink of an eye. 1 minute it's in front of him, next minute it's doing its best nothing personal kid impression, going up behind him and totally ripping his suit apart, considering it was meant to be the more updated suit, you know, the one that had better specs and better performance, just to show that even something that's out of date can still put up one hell of a fight if the pilot is amazing. Neat little quirks that I like about this are the side binders that are a little bit of a different shape to accommodate the wired anchors, but still give it that cloak look. The head is weird. It kind of looks a little bit like a pirate's hat at the top of it, in the way that it doesn't go like a normal Gundam head where it rounds off at the top. Instead, it spikes out to almost look like a hat. And then it has its own eye patch, which is like a green lens. I don't know whether that actually does anything, whether it feeds more combat data to the Gundam from like the Dodge Lancer or whatever. Or whether it's just there for aesthetics, but that looks cool. But yeah, again, I don't know what I would do with the colour scheme to fix it. That's the only thing I can think of that I don't particularly like too much, is the fact that it looks a little bit jokey in terms of a black and red edgy Gundam. But again, if you think about it, contrasting with the way that the previous version was a tribute to Wolf, and then he's kind of taken a different turn emotionally and kind of got into that really dark place and decided, yeah, I'll paint this in to represent that, or maybe to represent the pirates' colour scheme, then it does fit in with the mobile suits. Either way, whether you want to think about it as a joke or as a way of blending in, either way, it's not an amazing colour scheme, but it is pretty unique as one of the very few Gundams that is painted black. The other ones that I can think of are the Master Gundam and the Blitz from Seed. Anyway, what do you guys think about the Dark Hound? Leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!